who makes up this tone that I chant? I mean, how come I don't chant banana splits or something?
Well, that's a really good question. Everything on this planet is made up. Everything. Your name is fictitious. But when we call you, you go, what? And my dog's names are fictitious. But when I call them, they come. They also, when I call one, not all of them come, because they all know that one. Like if I say, player, the others turn around and look at him so he can go. I have energized through the name to them. Now, I could have given them any name as long as I energized it by calling it to them and rewarding them and letting them know it was them. Now, these names of God have set within them harmonic frequencies. If the name is not charged, not set into vibration, it doesn't matter what the name is, it isn't going to do it for you. Now, you could sit and chant the word one, 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 and that'll produce an altered state. It will not produce a spiritualized state. The name of God allows that to take place because as you chant that name, you're calling that God, who then turns around and reaches into its own name vibration and pulls you up. And people feel the pulling inside their body as they're being pulled from it. But even at that, if you don't have somebody who can connect it in this blank space between you and God, if there's nobody that can connect that and stand as a spiritual intermediary there and conduct the energy down and you up, you're not going to go anywhere. The traveler, as an embodiment, travels with you. The traveler is the God in that realm is already there, and you must learn to love the traveler in all the realms in order to get through them. But as you do, you learn to love yourself because you're also got the traveler with you and is you. But you don't have the keys of knowledge to know what that is. But you're getting them as you go up. That's why you have to claim it. Take authority in your life over it, live on the experience, and it'll step you up.
Thank you, and I love you very much.
At any given point, we can come in with 100%. Okay? At any given point, we can come in with 100%. Here. Looking around the room, it's highly unlikely that we all came in with 100%. So we came in with percentages. So let's just say that, I don't know how to do this yet because this is the first time I've done it. Well, this will be the etheric. We'll just do the mental and the causal and the astral and the physical. And let's say this is the soul. The karmic pole of the plane of consciousness has upon the soul will be the part that will pull most of the soul to it. So let's say that if we have 100% karma, we're free, or if we have 0% karma, we're free, because that'll all represent 100%, and that's total and free. Okay, that's just a didactic type of statement. It's not true, but it's a way to get to it. If you came in here and you could have 50%, and down here you could have, I got to break this up some way, so that, let's say you have 10% here and 15, that's 25, and another 15, that's 40, right? And a 10 here. That represents 100 here? Okay. Now, let's say this is just the way that a person could come in. Now, once you're in here, these are your percentages. That's what you've got. So on this mental level, you only got 10%. But if you're using 100% of the 10%, you must understand you're full and complete. because you're at 100%. There's no more. If you're using 50% of this 10%, then you don't have all your oars in the water, and you don't have all your elevator doesn't go all the way up and down. And not all your lights are on in the house. You understand that? And so there's going to be something there that we're going to say, that person's not all there mentally. At whatever level, I wouldn't necessarily want to come in at all these levels at exactly 100 unless I was prepared for a great sacrifice. But theoretically, I could come in at 100, 100, 100, 100, and 100. Theoretically, because I just said so. That's what a theory is. Is it real possible to do that? No. There's going to be something here that's going to be not so, and that's why we fall short of the glory of God and have sinned. Sinned by missing the mark. Not sinned because we had an abortion, or we divorced somebody, or we killed a kid, or we got drunk and we ran into another county and died or something. None of that. We sin because we fall short of this glory through all the levels. So therefore, we've all sinned by just pure definition. Even though we can't really think of any things that we've done, by that definition we have. And so we have. Does it hurt my feelings to say so? No. Why? It's theoretical. To have 100% of 10% will look and act like 100%. To have 10% of 100% makes you look like you're got one leg shorter than the other, and you're a humpback, and your nose is sitting over here, or something. We're not all there. We're not doing it physically. We're too short. We're too fat. We're too thin. We're too tall. Our hands are too short to play the piano, but they're just right to drum on a table. So there are all sorts of things that can go on. I would rather have 100% of whatever my percentages are than to come in with 100% and only fulfill a percentage of that. I would not want to have 100% in the physical level here and then only do 5% of it. That would be hell. That would be terrible. It would be rotten. It would be the worst thing, amazing. Same thing emotionally and mentally. So we're always dealing with percentages. So we have to sort of say, how much percentage have I come in with this lifetime? Well, maybe I come in with mongoloidism. Maybe I come in with spinal bifida. Maybe I come in with muscular dystrophy or MS or something. Maybe I come in with none of those. But I got an allergy that I just can't go anywhere. So you understand, it doesn't always have to be a physical disability. I could have mixed dominance, and so I can't really think straight, or I could stutter and can't say anything straight. So we're not saying one is better than the other, except we're saying it's just a matter of looking at percentages of how these things work. Just percentages. And I'm saying I would rather have the ability to do 100% of whatever my percentage is, because then I would be full, and I would not be creating karma. I would not be doing anything except being full. Therefore, no karma is being created, no karma is being dispersed. And you'd say, you live a charmed life. I say, yeah, but see, I can't, I mean, my friend over here who's got real high mental things can talk 5 languages, and I have a hard time with English. Well, they came in with more percentages in the mental level to do that. Do I feel bad about that? No, because they also don't have legs, and I do. And so I got my percentages working physically. I can walk, but they're in a wheelchair. So since it's all percentages, why should I declare mine to be more or less or better than anybody else's, except to say it's different? But then I would say, the person without legs, how are they doing it? You say, they're in a wheelchair, and do they get along? I go, they're doing 100% of their physical that they have, and they don't look handicapped or crippled or anything. They just look like somebody who's now got a new way of doing something. And we feel good inside about the goodness that they have going for them. But if I had high mental capability, and I was sitting in a class, and I got F's, D's, and F's on my tests, and wouldn't memorize anything, and I had brilliant, like 250 IQ, then I'm a curse. And I'm sinning and falling short of what my percentages are, which is the glory of God in me. And so I have to do something to overcome that. Maybe my dad has the wit to pick me up and stomp me on my head and said, if you don't have brains enough to use them, why have them? Somebody will intercede in my life for me. Maybe they'll throw me out on the street and say, don't come back this way ever again. And I finally wake up and say, well, then I've got to use my mind. I got a good one. And I immediately start to figure out how to save everybody. That would be the glory of God working. And that's when I would then say, I'm saved. I was saved. It's salvation time. Why? I am full and complete and have no needs or wants. Therefore, I'm full now. My percentages are working. Can I fall out of the percentages? Yes, absolutely. Why? Because we have choices here. And those choices cannot be taken away from us as being God and God's agent here on the planet. We must always have those available to us at all times, or we become under the Lucifer plan of everybody comes into obedience and falls back to the plan of God without any choices, without any thoughts. Well, we're not under that because we all criticize and think and do that. It's just our percentages are working against us, not for us. And so I tell people, you're just dealing with percentages. How much of the percentage you have are you using? Do you think you're a real great healer, and so you only want to work 2 days a week? Out of the 50%, out of the 70% available to you, you're using 20%. You're no great healer. You've just tubed 50% of all your percentages. You'd be further ahead to work 7 days a week, every day, and fulfill your percentages to fulfill your karma. Otherwise, you're just messing your mind up and your body, and you're going to have to pay for it. See, and the paying for it is to come back and redo it. But it's not a bad thing because the soul doesn't know that that's not really the first time around. It doesn't sit here and do this great philosophical dissertation. It sits here and goes, because it just doesn't care. This is, in a sense, the word is really allegorical for how the soul explores itself in through these physical worlds. It just wants to experience what's going on. And even though the ego will cry and protest not getting it, the soul does not. It just moves on and moves on and moves on and moves on and moves on. And at some point when it gains enough moving on, it becomes full of wisdom. And then it becomes purposeful for why it's here on the planet. And that's what we often call an old soul or an experienced soul. Now, obviously, we're not all experienced or we would not be here. So there's some experience that we are still sensing the necessities to have. I would say we need to have. But it's not a need like having to breathe. It's a different type of need. It's like putting all your building blocks out. They all got to be there. And you can still not breathe, and the building blocks still have to be put there. And so it's sort of a thing called completing or having a completion with the process you're in. Once we complete processes, the karma's over and we move on. Once we complete the process of karma in the lower realms, then the soul automatically elevates back up to the higher consciousness. And we just have to let it flow that way. You meet up with your soul, usually the first time I work with you at all, I don't work in any level other than the soul. Even though I'm talking to you physically, I'm not talking to you, your body, I'm talking to the soul. And letting the soul see what's going on. I do it by way of accessing your mind, your emotions, your body, but I'm talking to the soul. Why should I talk to... Jesus said he came into the world, and the world was full of darkness and didn't know the light. Well, if it's full of darkness, that means that the mind, the emotion, the body are dark. And if they're dark, they're dumb and stupid, they don't know much, so why punish them for being dumb and stupid and not knowing much? Most of us, we get hurt. 20 years later, we're still doing the hurt. And the thing stopped 20 years ago. Now, how smart is that? But we clean it up from the soul body rather than from a causal body or a mental body or an etheric body. And that way we get to clean it up and dissolve it. See, you can't, in the causal body, you can't clear causal karma. Or in an astral body, you can't clear astral karma. But it's got to be cleared, so how do you clear it? You have to clear it from that is a positive element, and the soul is it. It's nice that it works out that way. Believe me, I didn't design it, but I'm really all in favor of it. And so you want to get as much as your abilities here to respond as is possible. So it's called using your percentages to your advantage, always. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. It doesn't matter what I said to you 3 seconds ago. It doesn't matter what I wrote on this board here. That's gone. Right here it is, and there's nothing hurting us right now. Anybody being hurt right now by what I'm saying? Then you shouldn't have anything carry over. You should just go, that's gone. Here it is. Now we're hitting the target. That's when the glory of God comes present and we are not sinning. As Jesus said to the lady, go and sin no more. Because what we're trying to do here is make effort not to accrue more physical karma. And if we're only going to have 2% of our awareness here, we can accrue a lot of karma. But if we're at 50 to 100% of our awareness here, we're not going to be accruing too much karma. We're going to get some, but we're going to be dispersing it pretty fast also. And of course here, the way you do it to not get is do all things in God's name. And let God have the karma. But then how do you know you're doing it in God's name? God will notify you. What if he didn't notify you? Don't do it. I would no way tell you not to be aware that there could be some being called a devil. Because if there is, and you don't know there is, and you're not prepared to handle it, you're gone. And if there is, and you know how to handle it, you've beat it. And if there isn't, and we've talked about it, it's just theory and it won't matter anyway. Either way, you're going to be strong. That's the bottom line of what I teach is either way, you're going to be stronger, better, more forceful, more of everything you want to be. Even if we talk about these things as, if I talk about God as though it doesn't exist or it does exist, and teach you to prepare for that either way, no matter what happens, you will be strong. The same way with the devil or anything in between. We're just going to make it, because one of the things we teach is, etc. After you think you've got there, keep going on. When you think, this is the moment of light, when we go, enjoy it. But then remember, you hear, etc., eternal traveling consciousness. You just keep going on. Well, what if that was it? You'll just keep going on, this beautiful, wonderful enlightenment. If it's not it, you move out into the next level anyway. And don't let anything I ever say or do stop you from your eternal progression. Because that's not what I'm here for. But sometimes I'll say and do things that'll make a person stop and look at where they are. And they go, oh my God, one more step and I'd been over the chasm. Thank God, and they step back and go another way. But I only do that as a teaching device, not as a device to as superiority or hurting. Why? Because I've fallen over the chasm and it's not fun. And we don't have to do that. That's the big thing, is we don't have to. Those who do, fall. Those who work in this movement don't have to. But see, one thing that maybe has been lost in a lot of this stuff is there is a consciousness called a mystical traveler. And that mystical traveler consciousness is you as some sort of ingrafting or implanting into your soul. And when your soul, let's say, gets tired or a little negligent, it comes along and says, come on, and picks it up and carries it. And because it is doing that, the mystical traveler, in that sense of the word, is the omnipotent, all-powerful, omniscient God. And gives you immediately access to it, immediately, anytime, all the time. It's eternally always present. But it is non-inflictive, being what it is, and so it allows you to turn as much as you want to turn, or it allows you to stay. But if you say, oh God help, or traveler help, and nothing happens, and you say, I didn't get the help, you also didn't get the curse nor the throwdown. It defended you against what was happening that was unnecessary for you. But you must remember that that consciousness dwells in the positive and in the negative realms of light. And it will itself bring the test to you and give you the strength to overcome it. And that then becomes your mind fighting your emotions fighting your own mind, and the traveler set it up, and the traveler is going to help you win it. It's what it's going to do is accelerate the game. Instead of going on regular play, we're going on fast forward. But also not just challenge, but it's also the golden statue and the rewards and the torches and the ability to light up darkness around you for other people. There's so many intrinsic rewards from being in this that's amazing. The hardest thing I ever did was turn this over to anybody else, because I know what a marvelous, wonderful, just beautiful thing it is. But also I could see that there is this time in all evolution when everyone's time comes. And then was I going to be smart enough, or would I fall under the Luciferian power and throw control patterns? And I abdicated and said, no, I will not do that. That's against the very nature, and took on the greater power of the traveler, of the soul transcendence level, and gave over the keys of the physical level to John. But the traveler is in all the things, doing all the things. At some point, that's going to hit you, and then you're going to say, oh my God, I'm this whole planet. I am all of it. And things will start to light up around you as an amazing format. If you can stay in that, it's terrific. But you won't be able to, because the karmic law comes along and goes, you got this part over here to do. And you go, oh, it just went dark again. It's like, yeah, but how you lit up over here, you can light up over here. Now I can tell you the answer. You did SCs to light up over here, do the SCs to light up over here. I mean, God, I thought, was so brilliant when he said, sit down, go inside and focus on me, and I will light up your life. And I thought, what a dumb thing to tell human beings. You go inside, you go, oh God, help. You say the Lord's name, he goes, what? And everything's bright. You go, nothing. It was nothing. I thought it was something, but Lord, it's nothing. It's just really, I'm so glad that I know you. And then you open your eyes and there's nobody there, and you realize you're just talking to yourself. Then you also realize you're here, but you're the Lord. Not just me, everybody, everybody. And I tell people, go to that as fast as you can. You know why? It's more fun to talk to somebody and laugh and have a good time than it is to sit with somebody and grab a baseball bat and then you hit each other in the head taking turns. And it hurts. Not only that, you get so tired of hitting. Pretty soon you just throw it down and you go, hit, for God's sake, just hit. Hit until you can't raise your hand anymore, and you stand there and let them bloody you just out of total submission. Finally they throw it down and they go, I'm tired. And you go, thank God, it was just hurting so bad. That's the way life works here. Do you people understand what I'm talking about here? I don't think there's anybody in this room that hasn't had that god-awful hurt of something where you go, god-awful hurt, that hurts. And also at the same time, something came in that was so wonderful, and you go, how can I feel so good and feel so bad? Now, I know how you can feel so bad after feeling so good, because you can have sex and then feel guilty about it. See, I can understand that one. Why? Because that's what you were taught. But I also know that you can chase a girl until you get her, and you can feel so bad chasing her, and then when you get her, it feels so good. See, I can understand these things. And what I'm talking about is beyond the scope of all of that. But those will give you references of, yes, how that can happen. And we picked our surround, the people around us. We picked them. We picked the role that's to be played. And this is all done in the Spirit before we're born. So when we're when we're saying something where I don't like this, I don't like that. It's like, well, you picked it and you got it, so make the most of it. You know what's neat about that? You look in the mirror and you go, I picked me, and you start laughing. You go, God, I wouldn't have picked me. I would have picked something else. I would look like James Dean, maybe. Yeah, I mean, or at least look like a fast little car. But the ability that we gain from moving into the soul, and seeing one of its great attributes, and I think this movement that we're in here is such a demonstration of it, laughter and humor and joy, and the ability to like spoof ourselves, laugh at ourselves, poke fun at ourselves. I mean, we'll say God and shit almost, well, I did, synonymously. And very few people take umbrage or offense about it, as much as we see, no, those all fit. But it's because the intention inside of us is that of clarity and loving and direction towards God, and not hurting and not harming. And knowing that we're going to hurt and harm people, and apologizing in advance, and apologizing when it happens, and apologizing afterwards. And if necessary, picking them up and carrying them if that will also help. Usually it doesn't, so we go goodbye, and we go on about our business. And then time, God's master healer, comes in, takes over, and in time, that disappears. In time, we forget it. In time, we feel better about it. In time, we'll go back and apologize. In time. And that's just fine. I can find no disagreements with it. And I think there's a different way to look at it, and let me just suggest it to you. That there is a lot of againstness going on in the world, just a lot of it. But if we say, what kind of value can we find out of againstness? And I think that if I just take my own life and then I come off everybody else's and look back, everybody that has been against me has strengthened me. And everybody that I was against, I strengthened. Therefore, I stopped going against them so I would not strengthen them, and I let them strengthen me, and I beat them by just letting them process themselves against me. All I did was hold and gain strength. It's a very positive process that's going. It's a very positive one, but what we're seeing now is the outpicturing and the working out of the negative karma. Because the strong ones, and see, this is like, what a big judgment. The strong ones are going to come forward and rule the day. That's not the ones who are now at the forefront, who are acting strong. These are the ones who are going to sacrifice and give away, and probably those strong ones are people 20 years ago, where was Gorbachev? And here, these guys who were not the militant, strong killers came forward and demolished a whole empire. And look what strength it took for them to stand. For one man, see, to me, Gorbachev is more powerful than Lenin, because Lenin built it and Gorbachev dismantled it. And I go, wow. And I've seen the guy, I've been next to him, I've talked to him. There's a spirit in him that is bright, and I said, if anybody could do it, Boris Yeltsin couldn't have done it. This is nothing bad about anybody. It's just now comes the different powers of these people in to make it work. And it's really wonderful to watch it. But at the same time, this thing that we might call humanity says, it's terrible to see these kids in Ethiopia, these little babies dying and starving, when there is so much plenty in the world. You know, and so we weep and we cry, and then we go, I wonder why it's like that. What's going on? Then the word karma comes through, and we start to relook at the picture. We go, these little kids here are the ones back in this other epic that did the same thing back to these other people who are now balancing the karma. You sit back and you go, what a shitty thing to have to do, and yet that's going to happen. So therefore, we then pray for, oh God, do it fast. If we're going to wipe out 10 million, can you wipe them out tonight so we can get on with the healing tomorrow? And he goes, no, we're going to take a year or two. We want you people to see what you do to each other. Man's inhumanity to man is the curse of this planet. The great miracle of this planet is man's humanness to man. I'm not a political person, but when George Bush went down to Florida and said, this is terrible, he made he said, people sending money, $2 billion rolled in overnight. You go, something's pretty wonderful. You know what that also said? We are not in such terrible deficit problems when people can pull $2 billion out overnight. What does it say? We have such wealth, such power, such money in this country. But what's it also saying? Boy, are we misdirected. Do we have lack of direction? But then we go, what is the karma? The bringing forward of the people as a mass to stand up. You know what it's saying? American people say, give me good, strong direction, and I'll move your wagons for you. And as far as the deficit goes, I'm really stupid because I don't function on deficit and I don't participate in deficits. This building that you're in here was paid for the minute it was put up. Now we're just getting money to get the next one. Why don't you put it up sooner? Get the money sooner. Well, why don't you go to the bank and borrow? No, that's the way we've been shown through our government, through our country, how to go down and defeat. We'll get the money, then we'll do it. Then we'll get the money, then we'll do it. Then we'll get the money, then we'll do it. When you get through, everybody walks in, you go, how much do we owe? Nothing. Let's dance and celebrate. We got to pay for the sound equipment. Let's pay for the sound equipment. You get a lot of people, everybody putting their money in it, and this is what you come up with, is what Christ had. It's pure commonism, not communism, common. It's held in common for everybody, and everybody gives into it, and everybody gets to benefit from it. And there's nothing wrong with that. And even out of chaos, there's order. In chaos, there's order, or you can't get anything out of it. They say the earth, there's chaos, then the earth was created. That means there was somebody ordering something. Something was in control. And that something that's in control is us. We just don't know it yet. We don't know we're in control. People that donate to all this are in control. You're not the president of the organization or the vice president, the secretary, the board of directors, but they're just directing what's going on. They're not in control. You people are in control. When people start to realize they're in control, then they can start to make the things go the way they want to. And people come in and say, I don't like this thing a certain way. I'm going to pay to have that done different. We go, you got it. Just like that. They go, that easy? We go, that easy. Why? Because nobody owns this. We're directing this based upon everybody's input, which is the control. Now, some of that looks like againstness. It's not, it's strength. You just now realize that you're casting a vote or withholding the vote, and that vote must be cast. Must be. And so you're either going to gain the strength to move the group a new way, or the group is going to gain enough strength to move you another way, but there cannot be a standoff, because that's not what this planet's dealing with. And so then you get to stand up and state your position about it, and we get to show you how that doesn't work or it does work, or we get to show you how we incorporate it, and you go, here's my vote, and we all go, hooray, and we're off moving. It's called consensus. It's called democracy. It's called everybody doing it together, and nobody's the boss except everybody's boss. But you must have somebody up here who's looking at the whole picture saying, down this road, around the corner, and we're there, so that everybody can get down the road and around the corner. Otherwise, it's failure. You got to be willing to be the bad guy in order to be the good guy. Too many of us are just willing to be the good guy, but not willing to be the guy who stands up in opposition and says, let's re-look at it. Corporations are people who all want to be good guys, but they'll fight each other instead of come clean. There's a thing working here that you don't want to lose track of, and that is that there is a negative power who's Lord of this world and runs the governments and corporations and runs them to rules and regulations and into obedience. And the people that are going up these organizations are following the rules or regulations and obedience, even if it's bad. Now they're starting to re-look again, saying, wait a minute, it may have been good for Mama Yoakum, but it's not good for us, and it may have been good for Bull Moose, and it's not good for us. What is good for us? And now the organizations are doing a lot of inner looking, inner working. Like, while we're looking, if we looked at that, that's what you call that reasonableness or keep sanity going. Because it's very easy to just follow policy. Have you ever gone to some place to get something from somebody and the clerk won't give it to you? And they're to jerk you around. And we found this out a long time ago. You walk up to somebody and you tell them, they say, sorry, we can't do that. Say, are you the person that makes rules and regulations? And they say, no. We say, can you change them? They say, no. Say, could I speak to somebody who can? They'll say, just a minute. They bring the supervisor. We say, can you change rules and regulations and make exceptions? They say, yes. Say, I would like you to make what change right now. Here's my reason. Give it to them. They go, oh, okay. And they'll change the thing. But if you stay with the jerk, they're just going to jerk you. And they must jerk you because that's their way up. That's their job. That's their description. And I walked up to one, and they were just going, I said, did I do something to make you angry at me? They go, no. I said, well, are you mad at me? They go, no. And I said, well, is this response you're giving me appropriate to me just walking up here and saying, I would like? They said, well, no, I'm mad at somebody else. I said, please, take it out on them and just do mine while I'm here. And they looked at me and they said, yeah, you're right. I said, you know, it's hard, isn't it, not to like just keep doing that to everybody? And they go, yeah, you know, I was probably going to do it to the next 4 or 5 people. I said, well, just stop it at mine. And we talked. I said, by the way, can you give me this other thing? They go, oh, yeah, sure. It's against the rule. But you see, even they know that they can bend things in there. But you can't get it in a fight against us. You get it in the smile of acceptance. And you also have to look like it was against us to say, are you angry at me? Did I do something to make you mad at me? You're treating me angrily. You know, if I did something, I'm sorry, I apologize. Now what? You have to be willing to do that. That's sanity. But see, I'm one of the people that I think. I stop. Thinking isn't easy, and thinking takes time. I don't stand and go, oh, I feel this, therefore I'll show you all my rules for it. Because a lot of the time, that's just wrong. And I'm not afraid to call wrongness on myself, because if I'm not afraid to do that, I'm not afraid to call rightness on myself. And I must be able to treat both of those with the same degree of intelligence if I'm going to be intelligent. And it seems to boil down that we all have, I'll use esoteric type of terms, a vision of how things can be and how we can be in them and how we can prosper, not necessarily how we can thrive when others don't, but how we can prosper. And I'll tell you why you do it. You do good because good's the thing to do. And the reward of doing good is the good feeling, and it may not be anything else that comes your way. I think that's it, and that's what I've done over the years is this will be the best thing to do, this is good, and I'll do this. I think the measure of any person is why they do the good they do. If you do it to get a reward, you've done it for a reward and not for the right reason. I don't know if you people know, but when you do something really great and you go to bed that night and you sleep because there's goodness inside of you, you've got the best reward there is in the world. Contentment, peace of mind, no againstness inside of you. But if you go to bed with hoping to get a reward in the morning, you sleep in fool's paradise. And I just say, do good. Why? You rest better, you feel better, you're healthier, because you don't have to worry on all these things that could come against you. It's like, I haven't done that. If it does, I'll get out of it because it's not going to be able to hurt me. I didn't do it. No matter what they say, I didn't do it. I did this good thing, and you keep coming to that. I think that's what corporations have to come to, is they keep coming to the good that they do, and the good that they do, and the bad that they have done will start to go away. Then they don't necessarily have to apologize or make amends, but the good they do starts to come up, and it makes the amends. Could people basically be honest with themselves? No, they cannot yet. They're still working at it, because to be basically honest with yourself is to know that you have greed and avarice working, and that you want more than what you're really willing to deal with, and you want more glory and more everything than you're capable of handling or what you've even earned. And we actually have this imposter phenomena of maybe they're going to find out I'm really not as good as I've made myself out to be. Oh my God, what will happen then? Then we go into the disaster idea. I'll lose my house, I'll lose my wife, I'll lose my kids, I'll die, I'll be in the gutter, oh God, woe is me. And nothing's happening already, now you're sick and dying. But if we say, I have some avarice, I have some greed, I have some lust, I have some envy, and my job is to keep those in line, and we all go, well, I can raise my hand on that one. And I know we all got it because we're all here, and it's all part of the flesh. It's the percentages of it. That's all we're dealing with. And some people will say, I'd like to do this with you. I'd like to volunteer my time to help you. I would like to do this thing, but I've got to pay for my house, my rent, my clothing, my car, my kids' school, my this, my insurance, this, my next 2 trips to Europe, my trip 4 years from now to China. And so therefore, I got to have $400,000 out of you before I can do this volunteer work. And you turn and you go, you don't have to go to China. They go, no, China's where I really have got to go. Go to Japan. Go to Tokyo, downtown LA, and tell yourself you've been there. But you see, they're saying, but if I don't take care of me, who will? Well, who's ever taken care of any of us, really? God. I've never been able to take care of myself. I don't know how to digest food. I can't push a button and go, okay, digest the food. I don't know how to convert calories and carbohydrates over to usable energy. I don't know how. You hear me how dumb I am? I don't know how. I don't know how the neurons fire in my brain and do this together to make me tell you this. I don't know how. But there's something inside of me that is so great, it knows how and does it. Even when I plead stupidness, it still does it. And I go, thank you, God, and I realize it's God by that big, pure definition. Then the thankfulness sits there, and I just go, I don't have to worry. I don't have to be concerned, because I never did this out of myself anyway. It was all done out of the Spirit, and the Spirit gets the glory, and when it wants it gone, it's going to take it one way or another. Either I'll die or it'll disappear, but it'll go. And I just smile. Because that's really about all you have left at that point. And you take care of yourself, just like we all do. You've put on weight. Are you taking care of yourself? Yeah, but you still put on weight that you don't need. Can you take better care of yourself? Probably. What? Still eat the same amount of food, just walk 2 miles further. There's a way to balance these patterns. And that's all we're doing is trying to find what the balance is. Find the balance, move on the balance, move on the balance. If you love somebody and you don't move on your balance, your love is fanatical or radical. A love that is a good love is balanced love. It says, yes, darling, I love you, kiss you, and I'm going to go work today and make money for the kids, as a balanced love. The wife that says, honey, I kiss you, go to work, I got to take care of the kids and clean them up and feed them, is a balanced love. And so all we're looking for is for each, and it's not my idea of what your balance is. Good God, I wouldn't even want to even venture what, you determine your balance. And you look in the mirror every day and get to look at yourself physically to say, am I physically balanced? You get to look inside of yourself to see your emotions and say, am I stirred up by a lot of things? Or am I pretty balanced? You get to look in your mind and say, am I holding thoughts that are positive, that are engendering goodness in a direction I care to go? And you get to introspect those yourself. And then you get to put all that together and say, is my attitude one that I like to live with? And you get to change that. And it's all in our own hands all the time. And if you do it all to please you, you are good and everybody else is around you is good, and you've pleased them without even trying to please them, because you'll be a balanced, harmonious being. And that's what we're striving for here. And that balance stops the karmic flow. And we say, gee, it's a hard time. Well, why is it a hard time?
Well, because I had to get up a little early. Well, why did you had to get up a little early? Well, I got to sleep a little late. Well, why did you get to sleep a little late? Well, I was out having some beers and got a little drunk. Well, why were you doing that? You know, and you have to keep coming back to, like, I didn't take care. I should have had the one beer, gone home, got to bed, got up, and I wouldn't be tired and bitching now and could do a better job now. Because now you're doing a bitching job. 2 hours later, you're going to think back about the bitching you did, and that's going to ruin the next 2 hours you got. And so all we do is keep kicking dust and dirt in our face as we walk down the path of life. It's just saying, stop dragging your feet, start walking on purpose. You know if you don't get your rest, you have a lousy day. Get your rest. You know if you don't get good food, you don't have your energy. Get good food. You know if you don't have a good relationship, that you're just a shit to be around. Have a good relationship. We all know these things. There's nobody in this room that doesn't know what I'm talking about. You just don't know enough to do it all the time. We say, well, there were 10 times I did it 3. Isn't 3 enough? Yeah, 3 was enough for 3, but don't expect 10. You're bitching over the 7 you didn't do. You should have done all 10, and there'd been no bitch. There'd just been, it's great. Then you get up in the morning and you go, it's not a hard world. It's not a bad world. This is a good world. It's clear full of opportunities. Today, many more opportunities. You know, I used to do door-to-door selling, and I had a bad time with that. And I'll tell you why I had a bad time. Because I thought all those people were going to turn me down. I wouldn't even go knock on some of the doors because I knew they were going to say no. Now, in reality, I didn't know if there was even anybody home. But I'd walk down the street, I'd go, they won't buy. I wouldn't even go up and knock on their door. My boss came on and says, you went down one whole street and didn't knock on any door. What's wrong? I says, nobody was going to buy. He says, stop the BS. If you work for me, you knock on every door. Let them say no. Oh, what a remarkable thing. He kicked my ass and fed me at the same time. And I walked up on the door, and knocked on the door, and waited for them to say no. I sold everybody on the street. I was a top person. I was the top one in their whole thing. They said, nobody's ever done this before. I had people calling across the street to their neighbors. This guy's got to sell everybody, so hurry up and just give him $16.80 and get the book and let him get going. And they were writing checks out for me. I was knocking on the door and they were giving me checks. I was going, what is this? This is opportunity. These were what couldn't take place was taking place right in front of me, as though to kick me right in the ass and hit me in the mouth and say, what a fool you are, Hinkins. You are a fool. You thought you knew. Look, you've made money. Selling magazines door to door, there's only probably one thing harder, and that's selling encyclopedias. But let me tell you, man, I wasn't going after encyclopedias. But 2 weeks I did that, and I quit. I could not stand not being turned down. And I knew as soon as that first one turned me down, I'd be going down. And I got out of it, went to something else, and started just going on the success levels. That's called knowing when you're going to turn and fall. You get out of it. If you don't, you fall, and then you get out of it. And I've said, if you don't have the wit to change, when it's necessary, somebody will grab the rug and pull it out of you, and as you stumble to make your next step, you'll be onto the new thing. And if not, you'll fall. You'll learn the hard way. You'll learn, easy or hard, you will learn. It's guaranteed. Everybody will learn. You die, you come back, and you do it again, and you die, and you come back. Everybody's going to learn. That's the neat thing about this. So if you're going to learn, just learn now. What is it you're to learn? About how you handle yourself and your spirit walking through this world. That's what you're to learn. Berush Beshem.